Good morning, 7th standard. I hope you've done your homework. I will create the assignment box so you can put your assignments in. Uh, the one that y'all had done with 2.2 and the part of the story where she, uh, looks after the little hummingbird. Okay, so the next one is 2.3, growing up. Okay, so please open your textbooks to page 46. Okay, in this session, you will perform an unseen text in groups. Okay, so that's not going to be possible because we're not in class, right? We're online. Okay, consider how dialogue and reporting verbs convey character and voice. Dialogue and character and reporting verbs. You all know that really well. We've done that, remember, when we did study about powerful verbs and reporting verbs too. Comment on the effects of figurative language. You all know that too. Discuss story structures, including endings. Okay, so getting started. When writing dialogue, it is easy to fall into the habit of using the verb said, when in fact there are many more descriptive words that would reveal more about your character's personality and mood. In pairs, write a list of alternative words for said. Discuss the effect of each of these alternatives. What do they suggest about the situation or the speaker? Okay, now this we have done when we dealt with powerful verbs, remember? So you all gave me many other options which I could use instead of said. Okay, so that's what, as I told you before, when we use these powerful verbs instead of, just simple ones, you give more color to your writing. And the person who is the reader knows what exactly is the mood of the person who's speaking, right? Now, suppose you knock on my door. Come in, the principal bellowed. Now, but when I use the word bellowed itself, you know that I'm angry, that the principal inside there is angry. That's why he is, using such a loud voice, right? He bellowed, right? So that itself shows you the mood of the person, and it tells you uh, what kind of character he may be too, if he's always bellowing, right? Okay, so there you go on to the next page there, page 47. Read the next part of grandmother's song. Perform this part of the story in groups of four. Divide the roles between you, the narrator, that is, the narrator, the granddaughter, the merchant, and the grandmother. As you perform the dialogue and the narration, focus on speaking confidently and with expression, using gesture, that is, actions, movement, and tone of voice to convey the mood. Okay, now you're not going to you won't be able to use movement there, but of course, your tone, yes, you can change it according to the person. Okay, the mood, the feeling created by the words, sounds, and images in a text. Okay, so how you're feeling then, if you're sad or you're happy, according to that your tone will change, right? Excuse me. Extract 5. One afternoon, trembling granddaughter was browsing at a market stall when the merchant accused a child of stealing something he had not taken. Browsing is just going through it, surfing through things that you see in a place, okay, as you're browsing through a bookstore, right? Okay, you're having a look at all the various books there. She watched the angry face of the merchant as he jabbed his finger at the child. He poked his finger at the child. Though her heart beat loudly, trembling granddaughter approached the man and said, "This boy did not take anything. I have watched him. Please do not scream at him." See, she's become so bold that she's able to speak up for another little helpless child. The merchant just snarled in reply. So she asked, "How much money have you lost?" 10 pesos, he muttered. The girl reached into her pocket and gave him all her spending money. Ah, this is real progress, grandmother remarked, as trembling granddaughter told her tale, gasping for breath as she had run all the way home. Then grandmother took her beloved grandchild on her broad lap and stroked her for a very long time. My little one, listen well, she sang. The world is a frightening place for people without dignity. Today you showed your dignity when you stood tall between the earth and sky. To that I add the dignity I have been given, the dignity of my grandmother and her grandmother before her. So you see, the child, she's improving, she's getting more confident, more brave, right? And the mother, the grandmother's effect does seem to be improving the child, right? She seems to be becoming better, braver, more confident, and more sure of herself when she thinks she can take hold of a certain situation. Now, dignity means your self respect, right? The world is a frightening place for people without dignity. You should have respect for others and respect for yourself too. Respect yourself. You should have self respect, right? Understand yourself. Have faith in yourself. Then the speaking tip. When performing an unseen text, try to read ahead slightly as you are performing so you know what is coming next. Vary the volume and pace of your speech to emphasize key parts of the text you are performing. Choose your actions to suit the voice of your character. Okay, so this you'd have to take note of if you are acting the extract. Now, the key word there, pace. The pace is the speed at which someone speaks or how quickly events take place in a story. The speed at which it goes, that is called the pace, or the pace at which somebody speaks. Could be fast or slow. What are the challenge of reading an unseen text aloud? What advice would you give to another learner who wants to improve this skill? So, your reading skill, if you want to improve, what do you think you would advise another person? Read aloud, right? So that you know you're reading correctly, you have great pronunciation, and you're able to read the words correctly. Okay, so let's go on to the next page. Language focus. One way to show the attitude and feelings of a character in your writing is by choosing reporting verbs carefully to describe how the character speaks. Different verbs can suggest particular qualities. For example, using the verb bellowed may suggest that the character has a confident personality or is in an angry mood. Look at these examples used to report direct speech. Now, what is the reporting verb? The reporting verb is a verb that conveys the action of speaking, used with both direct and indirect or reported speech. Remember, we've used this instead of said, right? Um, Mr. Mr. Ram said, or Mr. Ram screamed, Mr. Ram shouted. See, all these reporting verbs show you the mood of the speaker or what kind of a person he is, right? So, there you have three examples. Leave me alone, he begged. Leave me alone, he yelled. Can I ask you to give me 10 minutes alone? He whispered. Each reporting verb creates a different impression of the person speaking. That means you think of the person in a different way, you get a different picture of that person. The first example suggests the speaker is weak or weary. They're tired, right? Or he's in a, like when they say he's weak, that means maybe he's being bullied by other senior children, and so he's begging them, please, please, just leave me alone, don't bully me. Okay, that's when you're begging. So it shows that you're weak, or maybe you're just tired. And maybe your friends are coming and saying, "Hey, come, let's all go for a movie together, or let's go out to play." And you say, "No, leave me alone. My legs are hurting. I'm tired." Okay. The second suggests the speaker is angry because he's yelling, right? He's shouting, he's raising his voice. Notice how the third example could suggest two different feelings. The speaker may be upset, or he may be speaking in a low, threatening voice. "Can I ask you to give me 10 minutes alone?" he whispered. Or it could be in a threatening way also. "Can I ask you to give me 10 minutes alone?" he whispered. So that means it would be in a threatening way, and that the person who's being spoken to has to come right then. Okay? Now, the second question. Explain how the writer uses reporting verbs and language to suggest the characters of the merchant and the grandmother in these examples. The merchant just snarled in reply. So, how do you think he's behaving there? Okay, what is the mood, right? And it can also show his character, because think of the situation in which he is speaking like that and to whom he is speaking like that. 10 pesos, he muttered. When you mutter, you're speaking below your breath. So, at that time, the merchant, how is he feeling? Because this little girl is coming to speak out for this helpless little boy. "Ah, this is real progress," grandmother remarked. So there, how, in what kind of a mood do you think the grandmother is speaking? Okay. And D, "My little one, listen well," she sang. So when does a person usually sing? Right? So what do you think could be the grandmother's mood then? What is she trying to do? How is she trying to communicate to the child? Okay. Now, 3. In the first two sentences of extract 5, the merchant accuses the boy of stealing. Write this event out as a paragraph using dialogue to show the conversation between the merchant and the boy. Think carefully about each character's voice. So, there you'll have to think about what reporting verbs you are going to use as part of their personality and under these particular circumstances. See, in this case, you notice that the merchant is very angry. He's being very rude and cruel to this little helpless boy who has not stolen anything. And you notice that the little boy, he's being wrongly accused. He has not stolen anything, right? What does he say? He says that he's wrongly accusing him, right? Because the boy says that he hasn't taken anything. I mean, she speaks up for the boy, right? So there you have to uh, write out the situation there and using more dialogue. But you have to write dialogue for the merchant and the little boy, not for the granddaughter. Okay, so there, see, you'll have to first use the little introduction, the part where the narrator says something about the location or the setting or where this is happening, right? And then you'll have to go on to, maybe when the merchant, he looks at the boy and he misunderstands the situation, and he blames him for something that he has not done, the little boy has not done, and how the boy reacts. He's in a helpless situation, he's scared, he's terrified there, and he's being wrongly accused for something that he hasn't done, right? So you'll have to write a scene there, the conversation, there'll be more dialogue there between the merchant and the boy. Okay, peer assessment. In groups of 3, read your paragraphs aloud. What techniques have each of you used to create the voices? How successfully does each dialogue reflect the two voices? So think of that and keep it in mind when you are writing your dialogue. That is, when you're writing out this event. So just a paragraph, not too long, okay? And be precise and stick to what you have to do there, okay? So, good morning once again, all of you, and I hope you all have a great day.